show where performing artists, entrepreneurs, athletes, and more express how they've overcome trials and tribulations to make it where they are today. Be inspired. Welcome to the Thais Show. I am your hostess, Thais, and I have another fantastic, illustrious guest with me today. She is an author, an international speaker. She also is an entrepreneur, owns a corporation that we're going to hear about. She has quite a bit of accolades and has received many awards. So I bring to you Miss Monique Dool.
Hey everybody. Hey Miss Thais.
Hi, how are you?
I am wonderful and you?
I'm doing great, doing well. I cannot complain. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I've been excited all day. I had my alarm set and everything. I was like, listen, we got to keep this ball rolling because I got to be here on time.
There you go. Got to get rolling. That's how we do it here. All right.
hmm
So, you have so much going on and so much, so many things that you do. You wear several hats and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
juggling quite a bit. So for the audience, of course, we are going to tell them everything that we can within this hour that you have done. What your bio looks like. Okay. And we're going to talk about your journey and how it's been therapeutic for you. For anyone who is first time watching the Thais show, the tagline for the show is what we do for therapy. I call this the best in therapeutic edutainment. I come on and interview different entrepreneurs. It can be performing artists as well, authors, anyone that falls into the business entrepreneurial space that would like to come on and discuss their journey. Of course, this is meant to educate, to be therapeutic, to encourage, motivate, and inspire. I'm gonna have to get some drum roll or and some clap.
Listen, it's okay. I love it. I love it.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I want to first start with the fact that you are an international speaker. So tell us
Oh, wow.
about some places that you have spoken, and what the foundation is for for your speaking engagements. What is it that you are conveying to your audiences?
I have not left the country nor my home. All of these things have been virtual, sis. I have gone. My show airs in Benin, Nigeria, having a moment with Moni. So I'm in Nigeria every week. You know, well, Eastern Standard Time here and whatever time it is over there.
Hmm.
I have gone and to the UK in London to speak to women on, honing in on our superpower and breaking the biases that we face as women, especially as women of color. Um, I have had people who listen to my show from Germany who has made comments and stuff. So I'm everywhere, like literally. And so the message is the same that you can make it through whatever you are going through if you put God first. Life is going to do life, and if you want to be successful in life, having faith in God and doing what He's called you to do will make your journey worth living. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy because that's a whole lie. We know that. But that's the
Mhm.
message. And to love yourself, take care of yourself first before you pour into anybody else. Don't pour from an empty cup. So that's pretty much the themes of it all. I talk to parents and special needs parents and caregivers and stuff. That is what Disability LLC is all about.
Okay, so a couple of things going on there. Now you have a show that you said it airs in Nigeria, and it's also
Yeah.
aired in the UK. And now give the name of the show. Uh,
Having a moment with Moni.
Okay.
Moni. Yeah, it is on Spotify and Apple and all of those places. Everywhere that podcasts are streamed, it's everywhere, but it specifically airs in those places on certain days under the Hard Radio Network that I'm
Mm,
on.
okay, I see. I see. And how
Hmm.
is it that your podcast pretty much started in Nigeria, or was that the first start?
No, it was just on, well, then it was Anchor. And it caught the attention of Pastor Daniel from the Hot Radio Network. And he reached out to me and said, "Hey, we have spots on the radio network. I've been listening to your ministry and I love what I'm hearing for, the parents and the caregivers. We would love to have you on the network." And I was like, "Serious?" I thought, of course I thought it was a scam at first until I saw some of my other cohorts that I've done shows with and things like that. They're on there as well. I said, "Okay, well, let me give it a shot." And so that's how that happened. I was previously on another network prior to that, and the people who were running it were fairly new to it, and they were not doing well with it. And so we ended up having to part ways because my show wasn't airing on time. It wasn't being advertised, as it was supposed to be. And so even though we were friends, I had to part ways for the betterment of the ministry that God gave me. So I
Mhm.
left I left their network on 365 Live 365, and so this is where I am now.
I see. I see. And it's like that sometimes, you can't always work with friends.
Right, right. They were new and they had just set up their network, and you're gun ho and you're trying to get, business and things like that, and then you're kind of end over your head trying to manage it all and stuff. And
Hmm.
so they did not, have the staff that they needed and things like that. And so a lot of us were just kind of falling through the cracks. It was just kind of airing whenever, and whenever they felt like airing it and all that kind of stuff because they had lives that were lifing. And so I was like, okay, no. We need
Hmm.
consistency. That's the only way people are going to know who we are. And I was like, no hard feelings, but I have to move on. And so we did.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where what it's really all about, consistency. It's a beautiful thing that you're able to reach persons in other countries, Nigeria, the UK. And now I heard you mention parents and caregivers. So can you tell us more about the foundation and how you are serving with your podcast, parents and caregivers?
My show, I'm talking about my life every week or so. Of course, I've slowed down a lot because we're transitioning to some other things, but I talk about my life. I talk about something that may have happened with paperwork or some sort of, issue that I've had taking care of my adult son who has cerebral palsy. Um, he is totally dependent. So I talk about the highs and the lows. I even cry sometimes, and I tell the God honest truth. This is what happened. This is how I feel. And then somewhere along the line, God just shows up and He intervenes, and I share a word in the midst of all of that. We pray for the people at the end. We invite them to follow Christ and accept Christ. And I pray, and I'm out, and I'm out. So it's
Mm-hmm.
about an hour long show. So yeah, that's how it goes. The first half of my 100 episodes didn't quite go like that. It was strictly me just crying and trying to navigate through taking care of Jeremiah, feeling like life was unfair and being depressed and all that. And then God just shifted it and it turned into a whole ministry on its own.
Mm.
And
Wow.
that's the way, yeah, I would be like, I'm talking to you, I'll just be talking. And next thing you know, God will drop a word in my spirit or a song, and then it just goes the way He wanted to go. And then, you know, when I feel like I have poured out and did what God wanted me to do, then, like I said, we have the ending, and I go on about my day. And some people, they will leave comments, or hit me up with social media. It was like, thank you, for what you do. I thought I was by myself. I get a lot of, those
Mhm.
kinds of things. I know I'm not alone. Thank you for being so transparent, because it helps me cope with what I'm dealing with my loved ones and stuff like that. So it's been so beneficial and therapeutic, because sometimes you feel like you're alone, and you like God just singled you out and picking with you, you know what I mean? And so for it to come full circle the way it's come, it's just been phenomenal.
And that's amazing that this has become a ministry, for you, and
Hmm.
in service, to others. It sounds like you are definitely making a profound impact, and it's helping
Yes.
you as well. It's therapeutic for you as well. Like you said, you started off one way, started off with releasing, some of the feelings, and some of the trials and tribulations that you go through with being a parent, um, of a disabled adult, that, with cerebral palsy. And there has to be, for anyone that has not raised a child into an adult with a disability, we cannot fathom what you go through. So
Hmm.
for you to be on a podcast, your own podcast, completely transparent, is just phenomenal. And I can only imagine getting on. I know I probably would not be able to hold back tears myself, doing something like that. What would you say moved you to just get started with the podcast?
I was going through depression, and I knew that I was in a dark place. And at that time, when I first started, I didn't go to therapy as on a regular. And I was like, listen, I gotta release these feelings and these emotions somehow. And I knew that God wanted me to pour into others, but I just didn't know how. And I said, let me just start a podcast and start talking. Maybe something will, click and take off or something, because I was
Mhm.
at the point where I didn't want to talk to anybody about anything. I was just
Mhm.
done. When I first
Mhm.
started my podcast, I was absolutely depressed. I was absolutely suicidal. I was crying every day for hours in my car, still going to work, still smiling, still taking care of my children, because I have two sons and all that kind of stuff. And soon as I left people, I was right back to God. Look, what are you going to do with me? Because I don't. This is not life. I know this is the life that you died on the cross for. This ain't it. And so I'm just
Mhm.
like, if I don't get a breakthrough, God, and you don't come and save me, then I'm leaving, and I'm not leaving my son here either. Why would I
Mm.
do that? And I was like,
Right.
God, we just going to speed up the inevitable and be done with it. They'll cry and stuff, and they'll go about their life. They'll be okay. And then I thought about my oldest son, and I was like, well, Lord, if I do commit suicide, please don't let my son get depressed and feel like he was part of the reason and commit suicide. I want him to have a life.
Right.
He don't have to go through the same things that his brother has had to endure. And that's where I was, sis. And just thinking about it now brings tears to my eyes, because when you go through these things and people see you as a strong person, I always tell people, I don't care what we look like to you. We're still human. We still need a listening ear. We still need therapy. We still need, love and affection and stuff. When you're the strong person, everybody takes from you. They don't give and pull
Yeah.
back into you. So you have to learn how to pull back into yourself. And so this podcast was that, me attempting to save myself, from losing my mind, if you will, and all that. And I said, if I just put it out there, somebody's going to hear it, and it's going to resonate and connect with somebody. And we're going to build this village together, and we're going to sit and cry together, and we're going to be
Mm,
strengthened together, and we're going to go
mhm,
another day, and we're going to live another day. And that's exactly what happened.
hmm. So you
Yeah.
the so now the platform and the broadcast is via Nigeria, but now any of us can listen on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the podcast is on Spotify and all of that. It's the same that airs in Nigeria, so you don't have to listen to it on the High Radio Network. It's on all the other streaming platforms. So it's just, you know, airs on that side as well. That's all. It's
Okay,
not two different shows, it's the same show.
okay, I see. I see.
Hmm.
Okay, great. Because, to be able to provide resources here is part of what the Thais show is about. So it would be amazing to have listeners be able to, of course, that are struggling through the same or similar situation, to be able to listen to your podcast. And it's on Spotify. And say the name for us one more time, please.
Having a moment with Moni, you'll see a picture of me and my son and a beautiful butterfly. It's purple and green and white, I believe, and you'll see it up there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm over 100 episodes in now, but if for those who have listened, kind of sort of since the beginning, you can definitely see, well, you can definitely hear and experience the shift that has taken place from where I started to where I am now. It's almost like my show has turned into when you come to church and you come to hear word and then you go home. That's kind of that's the best way to put it. That's exactly what it's turned into. Even when I'm not feeling my best or whatever, God ministers through me to other people, and then
Right.
we right, and then we gone on to live another day and be strengthened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it. You are also an associate pastor.
No. Look, I said that too fast. Okay, Lord, forgive me. I was my late
Okay.
Apostle Philip Williams passed away a couple years ago, and I
Mm,
was serving as the associate pastor under him and his wife, Lady Verna Williams, and that was something that I did not see coming at all.
mm-hmm.
You know how you go to I started when I was in church, I started as the choir girl. I loved to sing and all that. I was in the choir. Then it went from
Okay.
choir to serving communion. Well, doing praise and worship and all of that. Then
Mm-hmm.
serving communion.
Okay.
Then, doing other things. I have literally probably served in every facet of the church except pastoring my own. And so being the associate pastor under him is like, wow, I literally have done everything now. And so everybody's like, when you gonna start your church? I'm like, don't do that. We don't know. I'm like, no, mm-mm. God ain't told me to do that yet. No, I know y'all believe in me. Thank you, but that's a great undertaking that I take seriously. I say that if and when God say that,
Right.
then I'll be ready for it. But right now, no, because the associate pastoring was a real eye-opening experience. When you're in ministry and God shifts you,
Mm-hmm.
with the shifts come issues, growth, if you will. You have to be pruned and all of that kind of stuff. When you get elevated to whom much is given, much is required. So it
Mm-hmm.
was an honor. Yeah, it was an honor to serve. And at the same time, it really made me look at myself and where I was with God and where my
Mm-hmm.
faith was. I'm like, okay, God, you put me here, but why? I'm sitting here like, I don't have nothing to tell nobody, Lord. I'm trying to figure life out and figure my life out
For
in your word
myself.
myself.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to save me, and everywhere I go, it's so funny. It's like everywhere I go, I don't get to hide, if you will. I could be doing the most
Mm-hmm.
mundane thing, and even when I go get gas, there is somebody somewhere who comes up to me out the blue and say, "Hey, Pastor," and I'm like, I don't even know these people, or they'll say, "Hey, Apostle," "Hey, Prophet," or something, and I'll be looking at them like, God, you messing with me today again. Like what? And so it's been amazing. I tell people all the time, you ain't got to walk around with no big old cross around your neck and things like that. Spirit recognizes spirit. The Holy Spirit recognizes his spirit. So like I said, I'll be doing the most mundane things, and I will find somebody will come up to me, or somebody's special needs child will come running to me to give me a hug, or somebody's
Wow.
baby will just reach for me and stuff. And I
Hmm.
love it because I'm just like, okay, I know I'm in the right place. I have held babies while mamas have, were having breakdowns and things like that in
Mm.
stores and parking lots. I have had moms fall in my arms and cry because that's all they couldn't even muster up the words for what they were feeling. And these
Hmm.
are the moments that make all of the trials and tribulations that I've gone through worth it
Hmm.
because I've been where they are. And that's where the
Right.
impact is when you've overcome. The Bible says we are overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so when we get to that part where we have shown people that we've overcome with the testimony, that's where the impact is. Even the ugliest thing you could have possibly gone through is
Hmm.
somebody else's deliverance.
Right. Right.
And so I'm just, I'm grateful for that. So I'm not serving in that capacity at this point because I'm under a new ministry and things now, and I'm starting over from that after the
Hmm.
grieving and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not, let me say this, I'm not serving in a church in that capacity.
Okay.
At this point, I'm in prophetic ministry now, and that's been a journey and stuff like that. That's a whole nother show.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That is a vast undertaking. But like
Yeah.
like you said, much required.
Oh yeah. So I mean, you're never not a pastor, if you will. That you're never not one when if you served as one, you're never not one anymore. That's not how God works. You just shift your anointing and your mantle just shifts. That's all. I still have a
Hmm.
pastor's heart. I still, I guess move and conduct myself as a pastor. So it doesn't matter where I am and stuff. It's just it's in me to do so. God don't just, he don't just take stuff away from you and you get
Right.
to go scot free into something else. No, it's still there.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, there's no dropping the
Hmm.
ball when it comes to the Lord.
Nope. You can't run and you can't hide. Ask me how I know I tried it.
Haven't we all? Haven't we all?
He said, he said, you ready to take your track shoes off now, Monique? I'm like, what track shoes? I'm looking at my feet going, oh, you tired of running from me yet? No, I don't know
Hmm.
if I was, I didn't know I was running, Lord. I just thought I was just walking a little slow, but not necessarily running. But yeah, gotta check you real quick. Like, what are you doing?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because you know how we do. We try to do everything around what he told us to do. Not quite do the exact instructions. We do the other parts that we think are easier. So that way God will kind of leave us alone. That don't work.
I'm smiling because I can definitely relate, and I'm
You
sure
know it.
I'm sure the listeners can too.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You
Exactly.
mm-mm. You gotta do it the way he said do it, how he said do it. Period.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it definitely sounds like you stopped running and you are working within your purpose. You know.
Yes, I can honestly say that at this point I am. I just gotta move a little bit faster though, because some things I was procrastinating on and things like that. Because of course, us in the flesh, we don't see how things are going to work out. So we're like, God, are you sure you said that? Because it
Mm.
ain't looking like nothing like that out here in this. From my vision, it's not looking like none of that. But yeah, I can honestly say that I have stopped trying to do things my way or run, if you will, because I've gone through so much already. You know how you get to the point where you just don't want to go through nothing else, so you're gonna be obedient, so won't nothing else happen that you have to deal with, that you're not gonna want to have to deal
Right,
with if you're
right.
disobedient. Yeah, so I'm on that train. I'm like, okay, God, let me go, hurry up and go ahead, so that way don't unleash nothing else. I don't I don't want to get cut no more. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And
mm.
stuff like that.
Well, I say,
Hmm.
obedience is the highest form of praise. So
Yeah. Yeah.
being obedient, that walk is not an easy walk. Not at all. And it's not that daggers are not going to be thrown, and you know, as we say now, life is going to life.
Hmm.
However, being obedient, at least at that time, we are covered by the blood.
Yes, we are covered, honey. Blessed assurance. Yes.
That's
Yes. Because I'm
right.
telling you, I tell my son all the time that my oldest son, I say, son, when you be obedient to God, you ain't got to exert as much energy. Because when you're disobedient, you got to exert twice as much energy to get out of what you put yourself in that God never intended for you to be in.
Mm, mm. Wonderful advice.
Hmm.
Now
Hmm.
you've received a lot of awards and some recognition, and of course I can hear that you don't do things for the recognition, but you have received quite a bit of awards and accolades. Can you tell us some of the organizations that have recognized you?
Man, let me tell you, this ability is, I think, maybe about 3 years old, if that. And so the recognition and the accolades have just been phenomenal because, you see organizations who get honored after 20 years of service or 15 years of service or even 5 years. I mean, when I started receiving recognitions and stuff, I was 1 year in with
Mm,
this ability when I first started. Some of my awards are Edwina Wilson from Kelly Choice Cares gave me the Caregiver Award, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful crystal butterfly, and it's
mhm,
funny because I wear a butterfly necklace. And so
mhm,
when yeah, it's like, wow, okay, God, full circle moment. I have gotten recognition from the ARC of PG County because I took the caregivers course to, strengthen my advocacy and awareness. Just recently, Coach Ashley Blanshaw gave me the Impact Award for the Love Yourself mental health campaign. Um, and look, I have mom brain. Y'all gotta forgive me because I'm trying to remember the exact names and not screw it up. I have gotten the Sisters Award for encouragement through my sister's organization that I was a part of, a mentoring organization with Pastor Quetta Jenkins and Lois and a couple of my other sisters. That was just so beautiful to be recognized for that.
mhm.
And First Baptist Church of Glenard back in 2016 at their Grace Girls conference, they gave me the award in the category of She Overcomes for overcoming insurmountable obstacles and all those
Mm.
kinds of things. And that was, all of my moments were a proud moment, but that's where I started. I think yeah, that was my very first award then. And it just went from there. And so I'm just grateful to everyone who has given me awards for all of the awards that I received. I'm trying to remember them all, and my brain is just like mom brain. But to everybody, I'm gonna say this publicly, y'all, because I know they're gonna watch replay. You didn't call my name. For everybody who's given disability an award or recognition, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate every last one of you guys because I didn't think that, when I started this, it would even go this far or be this way. I really didn't.
I'm sure. I'm sure, but that's how it is when you're doing God's work.
Yeah,
You're doing kingdom
yeah,
work. That's how it
yeah,
goes.
yeah.
Because we never dream big enough.
Oh, let me not forget Black Girls Rock. That's it. That's the one that I got, I believe, last year. Black Girls Rock. I got an award from Black Girls Rock uh, for being a dope Black woman entrepreneur and stuff like that. So shout out to you
Hey
guys
now.
as well. There we go. I couldn't forget her. I can't forget her.
There you go. There you go. And hopefully each of the organizations will watch, your interview and be able to say, oh, there she goes again.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and shout out to everybody who's had me in their magazines as well, because I was in a few of them. Faith Heart magazine, I was in there as one of the women changing the face of ministry.
Yes.
Legacy, the Legacy of the Making magazine, which was back in 20 something when I published my first book, which was back in the early 2000s somewhere. That was the first magazine that I was in for How Do I Handle a Special Needs Child. They're no longer in
Mm.
publication anymore, but shout out to you guys. I was in Voyager, South Carolina Voyager magazine. And Power magazine with Janita Castile. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's just been phenomenal so far.
Right. Right. Right.
Hmm.
And now, and what type of advice would you give for, someone who's considering starting a business or a nonprofit, really with the foundation of, and it may not be having a child or being the parent of a child or an adult with a disability, but now it can be it can be any type of business. A lot of businesses and especially nonprofits tend to start because because of a trauma, because of
Hmm.
something that needs to be overcome, and depression comes with that, like you said. So what type of advice would you give to someone who is considering starting, but they are just struggling, still deep into the depressive mode?
Do it anyway. Tears and all, do it anyway. Perfect example, when I released my book, Grief is a Gangster, and Caregiver CPR, I had did the Faith Mental Health Summit as a speaker for the first time. And even when I did that, I was depressed then when I did
Mm-hmm.
Caregiver CPR.
Mm-hmm.
And it had such an impact on people. And I said, well, since I did it, I was like, let me take all this information that I wrote down and present it to them and put it in the book. And that's literally, y'all, where the book came from. Seriously, all of the stuff that's in the book, I said live at the Faith Mental Health Summit that we had virtually last year or the year before that. When I wrote Grief is a Gangster, I wrote Grief is a Gangster after my grandmother. 2021, my grandmother passed first. I didn't even make it out the door to the cemetery, and I got the call that my 29-year-old sister died. Depressed
Mm.
and all. I didn't want to talk to nobody. we
Right.
we were prepared for my grandmother's passing. She was almost 90. So there were no surprises there. But my sister, I was not ready for. And I was angry at God because I felt like God blindsided me and he took something from me that was so precious. I'm like, but Lord, she has a daughter. How is this working together for my niece's good and your glory? Her mother is gone. She wasn't
Right.
even old enough to know that that was her mother laying there in the casket. I was livid for a while.
Mhm.
Sis, I had just mentally checked out and still writing, just
Mhm.
gone, angry, shaking my
Mhm.
fist at God, crying like, why, God, just why? I don't understand it. And still writing.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
next thing you know, I was like, okay, God, what am I supposed to do now? I need you to write this book. I'm like, for what? I don't, for what? Because I'm like, at this point, why? People know what grief is and all that kind of stuff. No, but I need you to
Mhm.
talk about
Mhm.
grief my way. And so I wrote and I wrote, and I did not, the way God set it up was I didn't release the book. It wasn't until, like I said, after they passed. And I had forgotten. that I had a life insurance policy for my sister because I had pretty much raised her and she lived with me. And after she passed and stuff, I was like, oh, I forgot. So called the insurance company and I said, hey, do I still have a policy or something? They was like, yeah. Did your sister pass away? I was like, yes. And they were like, oh, I'm so sorry. They was like, yeah, you've been paying in the policy since 2005, whatever it was. And I was like, wow. And when I went and got the check, sis, I did not cash the check for almost 4 months because I didn't want it. I wanted my
Mm.
sister back.
Right. Mm.
And I said, well, okay, Lord, what am I going to do with this money? Since I have it, what am I going to do with it? Something that would be beneficial and stuff. And I sat there in tears, since screaming and boo-hooing, staring at this money. And it was like I could hear my sister's voice going, what happened to the book? Meaning my Jeremiah the Jackrabbit, because I had a children's book and I showed it to her before she passed. She was like, where's the book? I could hear her saying, where's the book? I'm like, is somebody in this room? And I was like, okay, I got to get up and do something. And I was going to my closet and I was going through things and my book fell out the closet and disability and the write up, the logo and everything fell out the book right after
Wow.
I asked
Okay.
God that. And I
Mm.
picked it up and said, I looked at it, I kind of threw it on the bed, cried some more. I said, okay, I think I'm ready. And so that year I did the book, the children's book came out. Jeremiah the Jackrabbit, Grief is a Gangster was released, and This Ability, back to back to back. And that's what I did. See, what we
Mm.
don't know is that sometimes the way God provides for our vision is nothing like we think it's going to be. If you would have told me that I would have got that this ability was going to come as a result of my sister and my grandmother's passing, I wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
we don't get to tell God how to make the things happen that He called us to. He orchestrates in righteousness and holiness. It doesn't make sense. It's going to hurt because we don't know how He's going to work that out. We don't get to micromanage God and check God like that. We don't.
No.
We
No,
would
we do
we
not.
have we are supposed to have faith and be obedient and let Him handle the rest. Now, I still ask to this day, sis. It's only been 3 years, maybe, or four. I still ask to this day, why? Why this way? When you could have just easily healed my sister of the cancer that she had and all that, and she could have raised her daughter and all that sort of thing. I was perfectly fine, like I said, with my grandmother leaving. She lived a full life. It didn't hurt
Yeah.
any less because I was raised by
Right.
her. But my sister, I was like, God, look, I don't even know if I have faith in you no more. Being honest, I was like, God, I don't even know what I think or how I feel at this point. Grief does that to
Yeah.
you. And then it
Yeah.
triggers other things, which I talk about in the book. It triggers stuff from childhood that I totally thought I forgot about. You don't forget, it's there. It's just that we have a way of trying to dismiss it and
Mhm.
bury it. So this book was therapeutic for me because I got to confront my really raw feelings about grief and how angry I was with God. Cause I'm like, God, I prayed like you told me to, and I fasted. And He said, yeah, you did. But that was my answer. I answered your prayer. I did heal her.
Mm.
I'm like, but
Mhm.
God, that ain't what I meant, and you know that. You know that's not what I meant. I did not mean for her
Right.
to pass away for it. No, but you asked me to heal her, and I did it my way.
Mm. Mhm.
So, and then He asked me this, is He said, now, my question to you is this: do you still say yes?
Exactly.
Woo!
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you. Listen, I'm
Yeah.
trying. Listen, says your yes got to be non-negotiable in sickness and health and rich for. I tell people this: it's a marriage contract. Your yes is in sickness
Right.
or health, rich or poor, in the face of death, walking through the valley, of the shadow of death, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Homeless, no job. Your yes still has to be non-negotiable,
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
and
And His
that
word
thing
never
hurt
comes
me
back
to my
void.
core. Yeah. And it hurt me to my core. And you know what? I realized that God cares about us, sis, because I was having a whole moment, and God is like, you do know I still love you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know this hurt you. I know this hurt you, but I need you to trust me. And I was like, God, I don't want to talk about that. What I'm supposed to do with all this pain? What am I supposed to
Right.
do with it? I'm like,
Right.
because the more I talk about it and go to therapy, the angrier I get. So what am
Mm-hmm.
I supposed to do with it? Talk about it, pour out,
Mm-hmm.
so that
Mm-hmm.
other people will know that even though life hurts, God still loves you and God is still there.
Right. Right.
And that
It's,
was my takeaway.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And being and you tell me your point of view as far as what I'm about to say. We will oftentimes, feel that, Lord, why are you doing this? Why
Right.
is this the answer? Get mad with God. Okay. And, you know, and I do counseling, so I have clients, of course, where I hear these types of stories, pretty often, and we'll talk it out and talk it out. However, when it comes to counseling and therapy, that's just one avenue.
Hmm.
It's just one direction to take, to have someone to talk to and someone to hear your story, and of course, remain unbiased, help you through it, and there's all kinds of tools, that counselors and therapists use, with these, you have some that, of course, their expertise is grief and loss,
Hmm.
and you have others that are anxiety and depression. You have others that pretty much, for them, counseling is counseling, help with in all types of areas. But there is still you have to go to the throne. That's the only way you are really going to get the answers that you need, and it's all for the glory of God. And
Yeah.
and you have people that will be afraid afraid to follow Christ, because they feel in the secular living, that they're pretty much under the radar as far as Christ is concerned. They're the devil don't seem to mess with you much, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
life really starts lifing when you decide
Oh
to
yes.
give your life to Christ.
Oh yes. Yes indeed. Yes it does.
hmm But he
Yeah.
he he never promised that road was going to be easy at all.
Not at all.
He promised us salvation. Yeah,
Yes.
and that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Um, your organization, this ability, you provide, advocacy, and you provide support and education for families that are dealing with the special needs challenges. What are some of
Yeah.
the resources that you provide?
I show them how to get resources here in PG County. We are not at the point where we can provide, monetary resources, and I'm praying that we get to that point where we get grants and things to be able to help. That's my desire. Uh, we have done holiday basket giveaway. Last year we did. We blessed 8 families for Thanksgiving, and I think 5 for Christmas. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
with 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 little to no donations. The Lord allowed me to supply all of that out of my own pocket. And so, you know, it's a funny thing when you have an organization and things like that, and you try to do fundraisers and things. I don't know what it is about me, and I said this to one of my mentors. I have plenty of organizations who ask me to share their donation links and things like that, but the moment I put one up there, it's like it's a sin or something. I don't know what it is. You know, I'm like,
Mm.
I am an organization as well, you know, and
Right.
you know, and for me, I only ask for donations when I have a family in need. I don't put mines up. You know, you don't see it pinned to my walls on my social media pages or whatever. I literally come on there because a parent has called me crying for help or something that needs something that is not within my means to supply.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have one person who may, you know, donate, and I might have a couple that will share it and stuff, but I don't get donations. And so I'm like, okay, Lord, if you allow me to be able to provide and help in those areas, then I'll do just that until you bless me with grants and things like that. There is a need for us in our community because for a lot of the parents, people don't know this, but special needs supplies are astronomical. Special needs toys and adaptive games and stuff like that are astronomical because they're labeled as medical equipment. So these insurance companies and
I see.
companies, yeah, and stuff like that are getting over under the guise of medical equipment. One adaptive toy costs like $200,
Oh,
or and up just for you ever seen those little long tubes that got the rattles in it, and it's just for the kids to hold and turn, and it that
mm-hmm.
thing costs that one thing costs $200. And if you are on a fixed income like we once were, the our disabled loved ones only get $946 a month. They're not going to spend $200 on one toy, and they still have to, maybe get medicine that the insurance company won't cover because once they become
Mm-hmm.
adults, Medicaid isn't trying to cover anything that they deem unnecessary, even if it's necessary for the patient. And we have gone through a lot of loopholes and red tape and battles with Maryland Medicaid and things like that just to get out loved ones the basic things that they need. I'm talking about beds and strollers and all that kind of stuff. A lot of those things that they really need, like a wheelchair accessible van, they do not cover. They
Hmm.
figure
Mm-hmm.
if they are giving you medical assistance transportation, if there's metro access out here, you should be satisfied. No, because all of those things we have to share. You already know how that goes when there's other people they got to pick up and all of that. You don't,
Exactly.
a lot of times we don't have the time for that, and a lot of times our kids are not cut out for that because it's too much sensory input for those, who have autism and Down
Mm-hmm.
syndrome. They will become combative, and they get 10 times stronger when they're combative and afraid. And so these are the things that we advocate for when we go to Annapolis and all that kind of stuff. Yes, we want them to be treated like everyone else, but within the confines of their disability. Not, oh well, you want to be treated like normal people. This is what we do for normal people. No, you can't bunch us all in one box and say, uh, we're a one size fit all model. We are not. Cerebral
Mm.
palsy and
Right.
autism. Yeah, cerebral palsy and autism are two totally, profoundly different disorders.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we are all bunched in under special needs. And so hopefully, me doing what I'm doing for the cerebral palsy will be broadened because there's a lot out there about autism. There's global organizations about autism, but it's not much about cerebral palsy because it's such a complex disorder. So, we're hoping to change that. We're hoping to change the face of disability, period. People's mindsets about it, how they approach, us and things like that. My son can talk and stuff like that. He's not an animal, he doesn't have a plague. You're not going to catch it, and stuff like that. Just changing people's perception of what disability is so they won't be so afraid to build community with us, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm
Hmm.
still human at the end of the day. I'm not a monster because I have a kid with a disability. I got feelings just like you do. I have wants, needs, and desires. So does my son. Even though he can't articulate them as clearly as we can, he does. He
Right.
has
Of
thoughts
course.
and feelings, and he shows them in the way that he knows how. And
Hmm.
so we just want to bridge the gap. We want, togetherness, just consideration and stuff like that.
Right.
Everything that anybody else who is normal would want.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what disability is all about. I have done engagements based on caregiver CPR. I did a brief stint about um some of the principles in Grief is a Gangster. So, most of our, like I said, stuff has been virtual. I haven't physically traveled as of yet. So we're looking forward to that if and when that happens. But right now, with technology and people still on edge with, COVID and things like that, and just make it more convenient so that we won't have to bring, our loved ones out with their chairs and medical equipment. We just do a lot of the stuff virtually, which has been great.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It allows so much more of a reach, you know.
Yeah, technology is awesome in the right hands.
Right. Exactly. So now you have grief. As far as your books, you have Grief is a Gangster, and
Yes.
and that's
Jeremiah the Jackrabbit.
Jeremiah Jackrabbit. That's the children's
Yeah.
book.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
He is I turned my son into a superhero in the book. It was actually a poem that I wrote years ago and I stuffed it in my book and I just decided to turn him into a superhero with the poem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So and that's two books, and then there's a third.
Caregiver CPR.
Caregiver CPR. Okay. Okay.
And that's the one, like I said, that I did that talks about how to prevent caregiver burnout and what to do if you find yourself there. Got some do's and don'ts and some little tidbits. And then
Mm-hmm.
Handicapped Mom, Lessons I Learned Through Cerebral Palsy is old. That was one of my earlier books where I talked about the process and how I got here, how I overcame domestic violence and some other things that happened along the way when Jeremiah got diagnosed with CP. Trust me, you want to read that one. That one
Mm-hmm.
pretty much, yeah. That some of the things that God has brought me through, even I go back and be like, I can't even tell you. All I know is that God did that.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the story, the then story, um, of how I kind of coped. Like I said, going through the divorce and Jeremiah's diagnosis and some other things. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You have been through so much, and you have,
Yeah.
but you've been able to be a voice and verbalize this through the books, through uh your podcast, having a moment, with Moni,
Hmm.
radio show. For everybody watching and listening, that can be heard on Apple, iHeartRadio, and Spotify.
And Google
Okay. Google.
and all the
Okay.
rest of them. Yeah. All of them. You know, they have a whole lot of platforms out here now, but it's pretty much on all of them. So no matter where you turn, you'll hear me on one of them.
Good. Okay.
Yeah,
And
or one
now,
of them. Take your pick. It's out there.
okay. Now, how can we purchase books?
You can you could purchase them directly from me. I have 2-day shipping. I will sign them and send them to you. They can inbox me on any of the social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, uh, Monique Dual. I'm on Instagram at MSDEEREIGN, Miss D Rain. You could go over to Linktree and click on the link and get it there, but it won't be signed by me. It takes you to the link on Amazon. They're on Amazon as well. So you have a couple of different ways of getting copies of the books.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. So now, if they go on to Amazon and just type in your name, Monique Duell, and it's
Mm-hmm.
Duell. Everybody, it's two L's. um,
Yes, yes.
on Amazon, then we should that should pull up each book.
Yeah, you'll see them.
Okay.
And if you go on Walmart, Caregiver CPR is the only one that's over there. Caregiver CPR is on the Walmart app. It's not in the store on the shelves, guys. So that is just on the virtual side. And like I said, if you guys inbox me and want copies, I do respond to all the inboxes that I receive. Don't come on there acting crazy though, because yeah, you should see. I get them every now and then, okay. But if you guys are interested, I'll send you my payment links or whatever and stuff, and give you the prices. Like I said, it's 2 day shipping. I ship right outside my mailbox, is right outside my door. You'll have your books in 2 days.
All right. Sounds
Yeah.
fantastic because of that's a way to donate as well.
Oh yeah, I mean we always yeah, we you could donate that way or you could donate to disability. PayPal has we have a PayPal Disability LLC. You could donate there or you could donate via Cash App, which is $ Monique Duell. I kept it there because I didn't want to do all this paperwork over again to put Disability LLC. Um, and because the holidays are upon us, and so we're hoping to serve even more families this year for the holidays because as y'all know groceries
Hmm.
are high and
Hmm.
people are struggling. I did not start a food pantry because I don't have room for it and I don't have a building yet, to take those kinds of donations. So we just, we gear up in November and get, my living room and stuff look like a mini grocery store to a degree and get the, baskets together and give them to the families and they're much appreciative of it. And so we're hoping to do greater this year.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. And so I would like to charge everyone that is listening and watching to go on to Monique's link tree so that
Yeah.
that'll link you to everything. That way you can purchase books, okay? Purchase all three. And as well, you can see how to donate if you want your book to be signed. As you hear, Monique will sign each and every book, and
Yep.
you are pretty much guaranteed 2 days. Now, again, I'm charging everyone listening and watching to donate, to donate, to donate. If you can spend money on something that is basically unnecessary and senseless, whether it is taking a break from getting your morning coffee that costs $6, $7, no matter what it is, something, we all spend money frivolously. At some point in time, we're doing something. For me,
Mhm.
I just cannot put another stitch of clothing in my house. I'm gonna need another house soon.
Wow.
If I think that I'm going to buy any more clothes and shoes and pocketbooks. So take some money, you all, that you normally would spend someplace where you don't, we can't take these things with us. Material items, we how many cars can we drive? We
Hmm.
can't take these items with us. So see to it to contact Monique. Don't even wait until the holidays. Okay. Contact her, let her know, say, hey, I'm willing to donate. And then you do that. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
going
we take
to
gift cards as
say,
well. So
yeah, I'm going to say we start with no less than $50. But let's do that. Okay. Everyone needs to donate. All right. So I want to thank you for coming on, Monique. It was great
thank you
having
so
you on.
much.
It was great. You I'm going to donate, but then also
Thank you so
make
much.
things a little bit differently when it comes to special needs and how there is not enough of a division. that goes on. Cerebral palsy, like you said, is completely different from autism. And, so we need to know those things and hear those things, have those things put in our minds so that we can have a better perception and be more realistic about what is going on and not turn a blind eye. So
Right.
again, I charge everyone to donate. Contact Monique. At least purchase a book. Purchase all three. Okay. If you're not needing it yourself, pass it on. All right. So thank you for being here with us for the Thais Show, live Thursday evenings on Facebook and Instagram, and then as well Monday through Friday, WMEG Radio. We're starting that as of June the 3rd, the 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. time slot. God bless.
God bless.